Welcome guys to another medieval battle with Midnight Games Online. We are playing Medieval Kingdoms Total War 1212 AD, the free mod for Total War Attila. And today we have an early era battle for you guys, which means a 13th century battle, the earliest type of units and armor that we have available in 1212 AD. We're going to jump right into the army compositions, guys, because this is a 3 versus 3 siege battle today with early era units and rules that we call special rules that we call early rules, which greatly enhance the sieges in 13th century battles. So we're going to start with the army compositions. I am controlling the Polish army. This is the King's Bodyguard. Poland, here you can see the king with the crown on his head. They're defending the settlement here with two other allies, Nicaea and Scotland. And this is very much an early era settlement with wooden walls and a raised kind of inner keep area, the victory point being up here. So we mentioned the King's Bodyguard for Poland. Also in this inner keep we have a unit of sergeants, so these are the Polish swordsmen and axemen actually, the medium melee infantry with an extra chevron for experience points. We have one unit of Polish knights here in this inner area, so some cavalry to help with defense. Here we have the artillery for the defenders, trebuchet for Poland, one unit of sergeant spearmen to guard this entry here in the inner city, another unit of sergeant spearmen here on the ramp with some archer sergeants behind them. Finishing up the Polish forces, we have another unit of Polish knights and a third unit of Polish knights here, and some forces holding the outer walls. More sergeant spearmen. Here we see them with the Polish colors on the shields. More sergeants, the sword infantry, and then we do have some archer sergeants. One unit of crossbows here, sergeant crossbowmen, and more archer sergeants on the walls. You guys see 3 units of bows here, a 4th one here, and then a crossbow for the Polish army. And one last unit over here, another unit of the medium melee infantry, the early era sergeants for Poland. A lot of them wearing chainmail, some of them wearing scale mail. Very nice diverse looking unit, mix of single-handed swords and axes with shields. That's it for the Polish army. We're going to move along, guys, because we do have 6 armies to cover. This is one of the other defenders here. Well, actually, let's start over here with Nicaea, since they're also here in this inner keep area. This is the Emperor's Bodyguard, and here we see the Emperor of Nicaea. And we do have one pike unit here. Let's get a good look at them. Oh, that is a Scottish pike unit. All right, well, we're going to continue with the Nicaean army. If I can find them. Here we go. Some bows from Nicaea. These are the medium bow infantry, the mortitoi. This is a very interesting unit over here, the heavy Greek fire throwers. And you can see this is the their weapons that they used to throw the Greek fire. We do have some Nicaean swords here, Scutitoi swordsmen, and a unit of medium crossbow infantry for Nicaea. Again, all 13th century units, guys, in this early era battle. Nicaea also holding this small wall and gate area here. They do have some heavy shot cavalry over here. and a unit of Varangian Guard. So this is their shock infantry guys. Very powerful unit with two-handed axes. Hard to get a good look at them here with all these trees in the way. A unit of Rus mercenaries. These are medium melee infantry here for Nicaea. And we can see the Rus mercenaries over here. Second unit of crossbows for the Nicaean Defender Army. And I do wonder if that's it. Nope, in the mid-city here we have two more units of their shock infantry, the Varangian Guard. So Nicaea going heavy, taking the max allowed of 3 shock infantry. And more swordsmen here. I don't think Nicaea brought any artillery. They do have some extra money as a result. So some Scutitoi swordsmen. And another unit of Scutitoi swordsmen over here. These are medium melee swordsmen for the Empire of Nicaea. And to round out their ranged units, they have another medium bow infantry unit here, the Morditoi. And I think that's it for the Nicaean forces. So together they're holding the inner keep here, as well as this side gate, which Nicaea has, along with the Polish cav, and then this large front, which is facing 2 armies by the looks of it, that the Nicaeans and the Polish are holding together. So on the walls here, the Nicaeans do have a unit of the medium spear infantry, the Scutitoi, and some Scutitoi swords over here as well. Poland with a bastion catapult, and Nicaea with a fire siphon here for more Greek fire action. The last defender is Scotland, and here Scotland is a little off to the side with this capture point here with their general, instead of keeping them in the inner keep. So in a little more advanced position. This is the King's bodyguard, and here we have the King of Scotland with the Knights of his bodyguard, and he is right beside the trebuchet for Scotland. Scotland also having some of their heavy shock infantry here, Gallag-like. Here's their captain, as well as a unit of sergeants for the Scottish. And Scotland holding the back of this fort here, sort of alone against one attacking army. And the trebuchet is sort of overlooking that area to provide support. He also has a bastion catapult, and it looks like Scottish longbowmen on the walls. Ettrick archers, another unit of Ettrick archers there, another unit here. These are interesting looking units here, guys. The Scottish bowmen. And behind them, with some infantry, we have sergeants, a unit of light spear infantry for the Scots, and then the pike schiltron here in the back. And I think there was another unit in the inner keep there, and we can check in a second here. A unit of Highlanders, and a second unit of Highlanders here for the Scottish. Another unit of Gallag-like, and more of the light spear infantry from the 13th century with 13th century armor for Scotland. And yes, in the inner keep, Scotland does have a little bit of reserves that he can fall back to if needed. The pike schiltron, here they are. These are Scottish pikes over here, and some light melee infantry, the Highlanders. Gotta really like the historic kind of dresses here on the Highlanders. And this was the unit of Gallag-like that he has in reserve here, with their heavy two-handed axes. Very powerful on the charge. That unit of Gallag-like. the defenders with a barricade up here that can be broken down if the attackers do decide to go up this way. They could also move up this way if they do get through Scotland here to attack the inner keep. Let's take a look at the attackers. So the two armies over here, the first is the Teutonic Order, and this is their general unit, the Grand Master's Bodyguard of the Teutonic Order. The Teutonic Order is played by Tom. I did forget to mention some of the players, so we'll go quickly over them as well, but Tom is the player controlling the Teutonic Order. Behind them we have the Light Skirmisher Cavalry for the Teutonic Order. They're the Sudovian Skirmisher Cavalry. So a very interesting looking unit. And they are tucked right in behind a heavy shock unit of the general and the Teutonic Knights. A heavy shock cavalry unit as well, bringing up the rear here. In the trees, hidden, they have their heavy shock infantry. This is the heavy axemen of the Teutonic Order, and they do have the max experience points added. Again, they don't make a huge difference in this game, but they do add something when you do use gold to buy experience points for your units in multiplayer. So that does look like he's got 3 of these very experienced units of heavy axemen with just the max amount of points added. He did bring a trebuchet as well. Prussian archers here for the Teutonic Order. Kind of cool looking unit. Gotta love the scenery in this game too with this river here. And here he has the Sword Brothers, which are the Teutonic Swords Infantry from the 12th century. Here is a Teutonic Knight as captain of this unit, and also a very experienced unit with max experience points added, a second unit and a third unit of the Sword Brothers, or the Schwertbrüder. In the trees over here, another unit of Teutonic Knights, mounted knights. Just really cool looking helmets and great helms on some of these. More Prussian archers, second unit here, third unit over here for the Prussian archers. We have crossbowmen for the Teutonic Order. These are the Livonian Order crossbows. For the 13th century, these are quite powerful crossbows. And a second unit of Livonian Order crossbows. He does have the spearmen. This is the heavy spear infantry unit for the Teutonic Order. A second unit of those here. And then he has some siege equipment and units manning that siege equipment. So here he does bring spearmen on the siege tower over here. He has another unit of spearmen on this battering ram. And I think those are over here, appear to be Lithuania's units. So I think that might be all the siege equipment that he brought, unless I'm missing some on the sides here. That might be it. That might be it for the Teutonic Order's forces over here. So moving on to the second player on the attackers. This is a rival of the Teutonic Order who is now working in conjunction with them. It looks like the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, and this is the Grand Duke of Lithuania here. Straight edge sword, and this is the Grand Duke's bodyguard. So kind of like the Lithuanian colors, a little darker than a lot of these other medieval colors that we're used to. These are the Ducal Heavy Axemen. They are Lithuania's heavy shock infantry. And some Ruthenian archers for Lithuania. medium bow infantry. He does bring 3 of those here that I see. Now this is the noble swordsman unit. They're actually just on the march, so there's some dust here in the back, but very cool looking unit. They're the heavy melee infantry for Lithuania. Now Lithuania here, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania being controlled by Diagur. I think that's how you say his name. So the player Diagur controlling Lithuania. More noble swordsmen here, and this on the siege ladder, a 3rd unit here and a 4th unit here for the noble swordsmen. This unit I think we might have the best look at. Lithuania also bringing a trebuchet, 5th unit of noble swordsmen over here on this side, and there are more forces here for Lithuania. This is their cavalry. These are the Ruthenian boyars, and they are heavy shot cavalry. And another unit over here, and a 3rd unit of Ruthenian boyars here, all of them with experience points added. And we did find another Ruthenian archer unit for Lithuania. More noble swords on this battering ram here, and more noble swordsmen here on this siege tower. And another unit of the Ducal Heavy Axemen hidden on the side here. And that looks to be it for Lithuania, so we're going to go on to the last player here in the battle. The last player being Giza, and he is commanding the Holy Roman Empire. So this is the Holy Roman Emperor and the knights of his bodyguard. And you can see him here. And their 13th century armor. Very powerful unit. A bit of a lighter cavalry unit here. These are medium shot cavalry, the Brabanzanen cavalry of the 13th century. So he's got 3 units of those. He also brings a trebuchet, so all 3 of the attackers with artillery, only 2 of the defenders electing to bring artillery. Axe sergeants here with their double-handed axes, polearm-like weapons. So it looks like 3 of the units of those, and he does have a bunch of siege towers here with dismounted Imperial Knights. These are some of the most powerful units. Here you can see them with long swords, primarily. So it looks like 4 of those units here, as well as some spearmen of the Holy Roman Empire. Medium spear infantry over here, 2nd unit there. And we do have archer units here as well. Early era archers. And I do see 4 units here of the early era archers. And lots of these dismounted Imperial Knights being brought by this player here, Giza. So that's it for the army compositions, guys. I did forget to mention the Empire of Nicaea here, one of the defenders, being commanded by the Lion of Casterly Rock. That was the player commanding the Empire of Nicaea. And the other one I forgot to mention was the other defender, which was Scotland. And now Scotland was played by Litholdus, so he is controlling the Kingdom of Scotland. Okay guys, that takes us through the army compositions. Let's go ahead and start this early era siege battle.
These walls are strong, but it is not walls that hold a place. It is strong men with stronger hearts. Men such as you. We will hold this place.
And incoming artillery fire already.
Our ally is under attack from the enemy.
And a response here coming in. Already actually taking out some dismounted Imperial Knights here. And in these special rules, there's no fire projectiles. At least there's supposed to be no fire projectiles. So the artillery is firing on regular shot here, guys, as you can see. Just hurling boulders like they would in the early medieval ages. Although somebody disregarded that rule very clearly here. I'm sure that was by accident, and as soon as the player realizes, they will turn off their fire projectiles. That was just a special rule that was in play for this game. Oh, yeah, there it is. That is Lithuania, using that to try to get rid of the tower here, or the fire site, and to set the town on fire a little bit. So Dagger probably just not realizing. And again, after probably a couple of shots, he's going to turn that fire off. But in the meantime, the city's already on fire over here. And eventually, if that fire spreads, there could be a morale penalty. Now, some nice medieval action going on over here. These archers, the Scottish trying to hold this wall against the Holy Roman Empire. And able to land some hits here against these knights, which are pushing up the siege tower.
Our settlement is burning!
Siege ladder. Let's follow them in, guys. The archers actually move back now as the infantry comes forward for Scotland. And these dismounted knights are almost at the walls here. Dismounted Imperial Knights, some of the first to make it over the walls. Looks like the very first. The Scottish use the terrain here to kind of make a somewhat of a choke point. And the Ritter being pulled out and thrown back in against the Scottish spears.
The enemy approaches!
The action is underway, guys. As Scottish arrows fly down on these Ritter. Now on this side here, the largest wall being held by Poland here, and these crossbows are getting some shots through here at the spearmen pushing the battering ram. There's some pit traps here too, guys. And we can see some of these spears dropping as they really try to push this wall. Creating lots of shields with arrows sticking out of them. More and more are dropping now, guys. Getting closer. And artillery fire.
Enemy forces have destroyed the gate.
Taking out a lot of those spears, and they are now wavering. But this gate being 100% destroyed now. Although there's a unit of pikes here ready to defend it. Scottish trying to hold on against the Imperial onslaught. This battering ram does not reach the gates as these spearmen are broken. Now wavering, trying to be ordered back in. However, the siege tower has reached the gates. And the sergeants are ready for it. This ladder has reached the gates. And these noble swords, which did take about 50 casualties, are over the walls now and are fighting against the Polish sergeants, guys. So let's take a look. Well, not at the battering ram, but why not? Now this unit breaks completely after losing even more men to archer fire. Well, let's go back here onto this wall. Let's just enjoy in cinematic view, guys. As the Lithuanian noble swordsmen take on Polish sergeants. best early era units that Lithuania has to offer. This is quite an even fight here on the walls. Some of these ladders stopping, and these units, the noble swordsmen do have some javelin capabilities, so they are hurling their projectiles in before continuing their march. Interesting choice here by Lithuania, and a shot by the trebuchet, nobody home. Gate looks like it will hold here. The bastion catapult is
Enemy
down,
units have been rallied.
but the long wall here under heavy assault. This side here is not yet threatened, although the attackers are bringing up some of their siege equipment. Let's go back to Scotland's side, where the Ritter are inside the base. Dismounted Imperial Knights here taking on the Highlanders, and this looks like a chaotic. Sorry about that, a chaotic melee breaking out here. But with the overhead support of some missiles, the Imperial Knights are breaking here. And another unit here, also looking to be in trouble. Imperial Knights taking on the Scottish, but they are down a lot of men, down a lot of morale. And now a Scottish unit being sent to flank and charging in on their backs. And that should be it for these Imperial Knights. And there they go, they do break. And another unit broken here. So Scotland with some crafty moves here to keep their side clear, but now reinforcements coming, as well as artillery fire. And we do have some polar spears actually holding the Scottish side here as a choke point in case this Scottish side does fall. More gates being destroyed. Now it looks like it was over here, perhaps by the artillery since it wasn't the battering ram. And a lot of Prussian archer fire support here chasing these crossbowmen off. They do have 52 kills, so it's good to get that unit out of there while it's still at 2/3 strength. Lithuanian noble swordsmen here still trying to punch through these sergeants. And this wall being destroyed by the trebuchet of Lithuania.
The walls have fallen to the breach.
So the spears are going to run to the breach. And over here we do have cavalry preparing possibly for a charge. And heavy axemen lining up as well. We do have some siege towers still alive for the defenders, like this one here on the outside, firing away. And we have these spears holding the battered remnants of the gates. And they're going to go up against some Teutonic axes. And they will be asked to hold against the heavy shock infantry of the Teutonic Order. Let's go to cinematic view, guys. And some of these Teutonic axes going down, but some of the polar spears going down as well. And archer fire raining down too. Teutonic Order. Rus mercenaries from Nicaea backing up these sergeants, which are starting to waver. The Polish forces here. And more artillery firing by Lithuania, taking out some bowmen. Artillery doing a lot here already, almost out of ammo though. They did cause a breach, so he elected to use most of his ammo there. See if that pays off. The German artillery though, hammering the Scottish longbows, very wise choice here. They already have 58 kills.
Shameful display.
Polish trebuchet
The
here,
enemy have rallied their
sort of in the
units.
back, with 6 kills here. And we have some Greek fire throwers. See if they can get some sort of angle here. They try to march up this hill.
have found their courage! Back to the fight!
And he is pulling out Scudetoi swordsmen here and trying to get them to fire. And they do! And that is one unit wavering. And just brutal Greek fire used by the defenders here. So Nicaea, some good shots here. I feel like the angle wasn't great. He probably didn't get as many as he wanted to. And now the noble swordsman just being thrown at them, but sort of being stuck in combat with the Scudetoi and sort of deciding against the chase, kind of coming back in here. Take on the Scudetoi. This looks like some Scottish cavalry here, the Scottish Knights. Oops. And another cap battle on the side. Oh my goodness. Look at this, Polish cavalry taking out the noble swordsmen of Lithuania. And now trying to pull back to the castle. One unit will make it with 33 kills, untouched. The other unit though will be caught.
Broken and not fleeing.
Multiple units here. And same with the Nicaean cap, which took out some of the noble swords here, about 30 of them. They will also be caught out here. Varangians, though, are going to do well in hand-to-hand, prolonged melee against Lithuanian cavalry. So lots of action going on, guys, on 3 different fronts. Hard to follow and hard not to miss anything. Look at that. Varangians just taking out horsemen. Very interesting fight here, and it's happening under the defender walls. So we do have 2 towers firing down, as well as a crossbow unit and supporting bow unit here from Nicaea. So while the defenders did lose 2 cav, these 2 infantry units were decimated.
Our men return to the fight!
And plenty of casualties on both sides. Scotland wreaking havoc with their knights here into the German archers. Lots of kills being scored here by the Scottish knights.
Return to the battle!
This artillery unit already out of ammo, so not the greatest target. But it looks like the Holy Roman Emperor has moved over to this side here with his cavalry to side over here with the Grand Duke. And the last 2 units of the Imperial Army here, besides the trebuchet, are pushing in sort of a lost cause here in an uphill battle against the Polish spears and the Scottish longbows. Crossbows here look like they got a good shot.
The men have thrown down their
Might be aiming at the tower though. Unfortunately, they should be firing at these duckle heavy axemen. But we do have some bows from over here targeting those axes. Now battle at this gate, guys. Those spear unit look like they're pretty much all done. But the heavy axemen also backing out as the Varangian guard back up their Polish allies at the gate.
A unit is running from the enemy!
The Bruce mercenaries taking on the noble swordsmen of Lithuania over here. So the Nicaeans deploying the Bruce mercenaries to defend here against these Lithuanian longswords on the right of the screen, or the Lithuanian noble swordsmen rather, on the right of the screen. You can see they do have some Japanese as well, or when they get into a ranged position. Just a chaotic battle here on this early era settlement. Very medieval looking battlefield here, guys. Polish knights here moving into position and actually taking some fire. We're ready to support the Varangian Guard over here, which is also under fire. This breach here, under attack from Scotland's Trebuchet. But Lithuania trying to press into the breach here. The attackers trying to make something happen. The Teutonic efforts here, or rather the German efforts from the Empire, the Holy Empire failed on this side here. Did not get through these spearmen, who only needed to kill 5 of them. And the Scottish Knights with 299 kills. Wow. 24 men left in this unit of 60 here. They're going to take a well-deserved rest in the inner keep. But this wall with the breach here, it looks like the Polish Knights trying to circle with 86 kills of their own already, only 7 casualties. Varangian Guard trying their best to hold the Brothers of the Sword and the Teutonic Axes at bay. Just a brutal fight between 2 heavily armored 13th century opponents, guys. Just gonna enjoy this one in cinematic view for a minute. Look at that big mass of Teutonic Knights moving in. And the Varangians, they're trying to reposition because of this charge, and they've just been hit by German cavalry here, the Brabantsen cav, swooping around the medium cavalry, but that one charge took down their numbers, and this flood of Teutonic troops may well press through in a second charge here. And just a brutal result here. That's going to be it for the Varangian Guard by the looks of it. Prussian archers being thrown in. Teutonic cavalry on this side, helping to break the Scutoy swords and take this tower.
Our ally has fled! We are abandoned!
So this is not looking good for the defenders in this area. The outer walls have fallen completely on this side. Now these Scottish Knights here, trying to find glory one last time. As they go up against the Teutonics, that is going to be the end of them. This Teutonic unit is well rested and fresh, and they have the numbers. But the Scottish Knights killing some of these Teutonic Knights in hand-to-hand. Just an excellent job by the Scottish cavalry in this game.
Our men run from the enemy! This is shameful!
As this battle continues, the Polish archers are supporting the Scottish Knights, but there's just going to be too many troops here on the Teutonic side of things. And a big hit by the artillery, guys. That looks to be the Polish artillery did rack up a few kills there. It went from 6 to about 30. It's a good 2 dozen kills in that clump of men. But the Scottish continue to battle. And the Polish artillery with another shot. And a big hit here by these giant boulders, crunching into the oncoming Teutonic soldiers. And another 11 kills for the Polish trebuchet.
The unit is running from the enemy!
Scottish trebuchet over here with a ton of kills. Oh, it looks like we missed another capture of the Brabantsen. testing the Polish defenses over here in the mid-city. But the Sergeant Spear's holding. That medium shock cavalry unit now facing Polish archer fire. We do have a unit of Polish spears here that was guarding the outer gate here. They look like they might be just holding this tower at this point. More artillery fire here, but the troops now more spread out. And this is the fight here for this hill, to try to get as close as they can.
Obliterated an entire unit
To the inner key of the defenders. The attackers are pressing guys. Lithuania pressing hard, throwing everything they got through at this hill. The Polish spears with a bit of an edge from the higher ground. But they are far from instructed. Polish archers here with a good angle to fire away. And the artillery again for Poland with a few big hits here. One unit breaking with the noble swords. The Prussian archers are here.
Enemy units have been rallied.
The Teutonic skirmisher cavalry here trying to use some of their last projectiles. And we do have a charge. Or maybe not. Thought we had a charge here, but they're preventing it. Maybe they're thinking better of it. Oh, and they dismount. They dismount and they rather charge into a spear wall. They're going to take them on hand to hand. Interesting tactic. And this charge will be prevented. Let's see how they do against these spears. Can they press through? And now they're wavering and pull back. A giant mass here in the center, pressing. And artillery fire from overhead, guys. Just devastating the line of the attackers. More artillery fire from the Polish trebuchet. Beautiful hits here, guys. And it looks like the Scottish trebuchets almost moved into position too on top of this hilltop. The attackers now throwing in some cavalry, the Teutonic Knights, not willing to wait for their allies, but they are clumping up a bit. And that's what it cost them. Some big hits here by the defending artillery. Scottish and Polish artillery firing away by this bit. Beautiful hit there. And you have some of these gold chevron units, these extra expensive units with experience points, starting to break. And the Grand Master has decided to join the fray
We're being ambushed.
with a fully healthy unit here. Moving in as more artillery crunches down giant boulders into the defenders, into the attackers, and arrow fire from the defenders as well. And it looks like now big fire being hurled by this unit here, which is immediately targeted by the archers. And a few nice shots here, just really causing some morale problems for the attackers. With this unit wavering already due to focus fire from archers. And the Polish trebuchet just racking up kills in that big mass in the middle here with 152 kills, but now out of ammunition. Just being rolled forward, and these men will probably be thrown in for some further engagements here. The Scottish trebuchet actually, they were not firing earlier. It looks like they still have just 73 kills, which is still very good in this early era battle. But they do have more ammunition. And it looks like this Polish spear unit has snuck up this hill. And now we're also going to be, again, this strategy of dismounting
The enemy refuses to admit defeat. Their unit has rallied.
this medium cavalry unit.
The enemy general is dead.
And we have a dead general, guys. And that looks to be the Teutonic Grand Master. Fallen here against this unit of Polish spears and Varangian guard. And they are holding here in this brutal hand-to-hand battle. And just as I say that, the Varangian guard breaks. But they took the general with them. Teutonic Knights furious at the loss of the Grand Master here. And now the Scottish artillery answers. Some archers here that are out of ammo being thrown in, and friendly fire here actually taking on some of the Polish forces. But it looks like the Teutonic Order is now rethinking this mass push with their gold chevron units.
Our men flee the field of battle.
Trying to spread their units out. And the Scottish artillery actually missing now as a result. We have the Grand Duke's bodyguard here, as well as the Holy Roman Emperor in the back, and they're going to get a charge at the at the Nicaean Emperor, one of the defending generals here. So we have a general battle. The Emperor Nicaea does not want to battle this Grand Duke so close to enemy forces. He's going to try to pull out. The Grand Duke will give chase, and he will catch him. So again, they try to pull out. And the Nicaean Emperor now down to, he's wavering.
Bring news. Our allies' general is dead.
And he is down. The second general to die is now a defending general.
The men are running.
So each army, each side has lost a general. There's the remnants of the Grandmaster's bodyguard wavering without the Grandmaster himself. The Grand Duke here, still with 36 men in his retinue, having taken out the Emperor of Nicaea, and just looking for more targets. The Holy Roman Emperor thinking he could break through and do what his cavalry couldn't. And a beautiful charge into spears by the Holy Roman Emperor and the knights of his bodyguard. And they are just hammering through these Polish forces. And that Polish spear wall is gone, but the Scottish sergeants do hold for a while and are engaged by the Brothers of the Sword as the Holy Roman Emperor pulls out with only 2 men lost here and 82 kills. So a very beautiful, well-timed charge here. And the sergeant spearmen are still sort of broken and running. Lithuania hurling their boyars into this mass over here. And Lithuania pushing up some of their forces in combination with the Teutonic Order here. And just what I was going to say, he's not moving the mass push again. He does clump a lot of his men, and Scottish artillery takes advantage again. Polish archers here trying to target the axemen of the Teutonic Order and getting a few kills here on this gold chevron unit. The balance of power looking pretty even, but at a first glance, but the enemies the attackers which start off with 5,800 are down to 1,200. The defenders which started off with about 500 less at 53.5, so 5,300, have 1,400. So defenders are now up by 200 men, but it's still very close and very even as this balance of power tells us. We do have some men breaking here. The archers, and yes, this trebuchet unit with 5 kills in hand-to-hand now being thrown in just in time to buy these Scottish pikes enough time to set up and set into spear wall formation. Now this pike wall is going to take care of a lot of these
Our ally has been
Lithuanian
vanquished by the enemy.
units. And it does look like one of the defenders is completely vanquished. That is probably the Empire of Nicaea. As this is the Scottish king back here, and this is the King of Poland. Here, so now the defenders to hold this hill have a few choke points. There is a back barricade here held by a depleted crossbow unit, which nobody's going to be accessing, bothering with. And really just two entrances here which are being held. The pike's holding this one, and they're going up against the duckle heavy axes. They will be head to head with the range of their weapons. Look at that reach of those pikes. It's going to be very hard for the Lithuanians to get inside the reach of that. You see so many of them going down already. And the other choke point here actually being broken through by the Emperor's bodyguard, but he does not want to take on the reinforcements here. So he slips in and he slips out here just before the Polish knights are on him, and that will cost him a few men of the bodyguard, but he's still very much an intact unit. Polish knights will not pursue this. They do have 87 kills already and a silver chevron, so this is the most experienced Polish knight unit. And they are now rested and fresh. Some Ruthenian boyars being thrown in here to break through for the attackers. Now just desperate to break through. But some big hits here, actually friendly fire onto the Galaglide, but also into the heavy axemen of the Teutonic Order from what looks to be Scotland's artillery. And the remnants of the Grandmaster's bodyguard, the last 7 knights, are just being thrown in here as well. Try to press through. But some big hits by the artillery, and the Holy Roman Emperor is still thinking about trying to sneak through here. And try to get that flanking maneuver. Galaglike now breaking, and this is all held by one unit of Polish sergeants. These Polish swordsmen are all that's left between these camp breaking through guys.
Enemy units have returned to the battle.
And the Grand Duke's bodyguard themselves are being thrown in here. Now a unit of Ettrick archers that's out of ammunition are thrown in as well. And the defenders just funneling everything they have into these 2 choke points, almost everything they have. Poland still with a completely healthy unit of knights, and then their most experienced unit, which did get some kills and see some action, still has 51 out of 60 knights and is now fully rested. Scotland looked to be deploying their last unit of shock infantry, the Galaglike, and their artillery, which is now out of ammunition as well, with 240 kills, are being sent out to hold the choke point here. The Polish archers, with the benefit of the hill, are firing down, but there are still archers here with ammunition in Lithuania firing in. The attacker is desperately trying to break through one of these choke points. And the Holy Roman Emperor will attack these archers from the side here, but it won't be an effective charge because he was blunted by his own men. And just a frenzy, guys, to get through one of these choke points. Geiger pushing his Lithuanian army as deep as he can go here. But the Polish forces and the Scottish forces holding him back. And the HRE here, controlled by Tom, is still trying to find the perfect charge for their general, who had one of those earlier and has 112 kills with about 2/3 of his unit intact. And they might be going for it again. Although again, they have to push through their own army, so this is not really a charge, they're sort of just walking into melee. And realizing that, he's going to pull out. And the King of Scotland getting involved here as well, personally. To stop this Lithuanian push just as the Polish sergeants begin to waver. So a quick charge and he pulls out. 11 kills here, and 2 losses.
The enemy have rallied their units!
And he's charging in again. And we see some Lithuanians just get tossed to the ground here, guys. Great charge by Scotland, the Polish knights as well at his back. And they do break together. The Grand Duke of Lithuania and his bodyguard. And the boyars. And one last desperate charge by the Holy Roman Emperor. But he sees his allies fleeing. And he's going to think better of it as the Polish knights get chased. Oh, they were fighting dismounted. That's why. I was like, why are the Polish so slow? And now they're going to cut this unit here to half, which is just bewildered, not sure which way to face. And that's it for this resistance. And they attack another unit. The Canadian archers are just completely out of ammunition. But the Holy Emperor is going to charge to hell with his own men. He's going to charge those dismounted Polish knights. But he's also wavering, and I believe that might be the last unit. Yes, the last unit for the attackers, guys. So great game. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all the players who participated. I love the early era siege battle, guys. They are so much fun. Let's take a look at some of the stats here. So the Kingdom of Poland, or Duchy of Lesser Poland, was the army I controlled here. So the general did not get involved. Some of the spears doing all right with 75 kills here, only 17 here. The swordsman, same thing. This unit not bad with 54 kills, but these two units very disappointing. 18 kills, 11 kills. The archers doing much better, 86 over here, 143, 24, but not, I guess, fully involved here, and 116. The crossbows with 75 and still half a unit left here. And the cavalry doing better here with 126 kills, half a unit left here, 34 kills with the entire unit left, and 16 kills where this unit was broken. And we do have 159 kills on the trebuchet. The other army on the screen here for Tom for the Teutonic Order. Grandmaster with only 6 kills. I thought I remembered him getting a little more involved, but perhaps he was usually not in a great position to pick up the kills. Now, these axemen with 213 kills, that is tremendous. Good job there. 221 here. Only 66 on these guys. You want to see them do a little better with all these XP points that are added here. And his spears, not bad. 76, 52, 0 kills here, and 26 kills here. I think this might have been the unit that was trying to push the gate and didn't reach the base due to all the arrow fire. The Brothers of the Sword, 89 kills, very good, 85 kills, and 32 kills. Again, you want more out of this unit due to all the experience points and the fact that it's a great unit for the early era. His archers as well with pretty good numbers, 70 kills, 40 kills, and 45 kills. Crossbows doing much worse. Again, in a siege battle, guys, they don't have the line of sight. 29 kills and 12 kills here. And this unit of his Teutonic Knights, the mounted Teutonic Knights, very disappointing numbers. This unit over here doing considerably better with 77 kills. And the Skirmisher Cav, 13 kills, but they're not an expensive unit. His Trebuchet with 42 kills. Let's go on to Dagger here with the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. The Grand Duke getting very much involved, 90 kills, but he did die. The Dougal Heavy Axemen, also very impressive numbers, 152, 115, and 78 here. The swords, kind of a mix of good and bad. He has 151 over here, which is tremendous, but he only has 9 on this unit. Those are the noble swordsmen with some extra experience points. Very powerful unit in the early era. His Ruthenian archers, looks like 108 kills here, 140, 127. So just very good numbers across the board. And some of these did actually make it off the battlefield alive, despite the loss. The Ruthenian boyars here, 72, 43, and 47. So all in all, not bad as an average, but you kind of want better numbers, especially with the silver chevrons added. And his trebuchet was 75 kills. We'll move to Litholdus here, Kingdom of Scotland. So the King of Scotland with 32 kills, taking just minimal losses, did survive till the end of the battle. And his shock infantry, the Gallaglyke, 153, 101, and 46. 2 of those units being wiped out. The Spearmen, they did not do well, but they're not an expensive unit. And the Pikes, same thing. They sort of got vaporized by archer units. His Highlanders doing much better, actually, than either of those preceding units. 83 kills here, 74 and 99. And the Sergeants with very poor results here. I think they were up against dismounted Imperial Knights. So not surprising that this unit was completely wiped out and only killed 13 men, and this unit was 16 kills. His archers with tremendous numbers here, 112 kills, 158, 218, and 2 units with 171 kills. Only 1 unit of the Scottish Knights, but they did very well, 310 kills, and 241 of the Trebuchet. So Litholdus doing very well for the defenders. Lion of Casterly Rock here, the only player who did not bring artillery, but what he did bring was Greek fire, and they did get 266 kills. This unit of 30 men, so good for him with the deployment there. He was the only defender to lose his general, the Emperor of Nicaea, 57 kills, but he was eradicated, like his entire unit. And then these 3 shock infantry, the Varangian Guard, pretty good numbers, 105, 150, and 118. His pikes also with 0 kills and just getting taken out from afar. His swords with sort of disappointing numbers, you gotta say overall, 15 kills, 16 kills, 0 kills, and 26 over here. His archers did save him some face here, 156 kills, 47 kills, and this unit of Rus mercenaries, actually not an expensive unit, no experience point added, but they did pick up an underrated 70 kills here. And he did get some good charges in with his cavalry, 81 kills for this unit. And as I said, the big difference maker for him, besides his Varangian Guard, was his Greek fire. And that takes us to the last player here. This is Giza with the Holy Roman Empire. The Holy Roman Emperor, I think he got the most general kills or the most kills by a general unit for 118. Let's see here, we have 96, 57, 32, and then 0. So yeah, he does have the most with 118, and his general made it off the field, retreated off the field, did lose over half his unit, but 118 kills. His heavy axemen, 72, 51, and 0. So this unit doing well, these 2 not so much. His spears as well, just 6 kills here and 2 kills here. The dismounted Imperial Knights doing sort of hot and cold, I would say. This unit kind of disappointing, 42. This unit excellent with 129. You got 85 here, 73, and then only 23 over here. So sort of up and down. Some of these units doing excellent, and some of them, leave you wanting a little more, especially for such an elite, heavy melee unit in the early era. And then we have the archers here. 31 kills, 64 kills, 33 kills. So not bad at all, but just not as much as some of the other players in this game. Whose archers reached triple digits. And here we have his cavalry. So considering they were medium cav, he did put in some good work here. 78 kills, very good for this unit. 43, a little disappointing, but 110 over here, which is just excellent considering that they're medium shock cavalry, not heavy shock cavalry. And his 130 trebuchet kills was probably 3rd in the game overall, but led the attackers with trebuchet kills, with artillery kills, for sure by quite a bit. So good game by everyone, and it was a lot of fun for me to commentate, and I hope it was fun for you guys to watch. So tune back in soon. We'll have more medieval battles here with Midnight Games Online. Take care, guys.